Welcome back, guys, to episode 28 of the Kinda Nice podcast. My name is Matisse Kirawati. Alongside me is the very well tamed Daniel. I don't know if tamed, mannered. Daniel
Both.
Gill.
I'm well tamed and well mannered.
Yeah, and today we have a very special guest. I've been longtime friends with both me and Daniels. He's been alongside both of us competing on American Ninja Warrior since you're season 9, right? Or season 7?
7.
Season 7.
Way back.
Young Najee Richardson. Say what's up, Naj.
What's going on, guys?
He's coming to us from Philly. This is the first time we're doing the whole video, audio, Zoom. I had to set this all up last night, and it looks pretty good. I'm happy with how it turned out. If you guys want to see the video, you'll be able to see me and Daniel and Naj. Go to patreon.com/kindanice, and the full video will be up there. This is our first try at this. Hopefully it'll be really good. I think we might have a few technical difficulties, but as of right now, everything's running really smoothly.
Yep. And they're going to continue to run smoothly.
Yes, they
all
are,
right.
Yes, they are.
Kind of nice.
But yeah, it's good to be back. We took a little week off, and now we're ready to go. Naj, how have you been, man? What's you been up to?
Dude, I've been good. Been trying to get back into this whole training thing that we all have to go through every year. Take some time off and then decide to come back after a certain point and jump back into this style of elite training. So that's been fun.
Yeah, that's everybody but Daniel. He just stays around it.
I enjoy it
Must be
too
nice.
much. It's kind of nice.
Nah.
That was my one for the day. One for the day. That was it. Okay, now.
He does it again, he's gone.
Yep. So, Naj, I mean, so many people know you, love you, watch you on the show. You've got, quite the following on social media and platforms, and you're one of the few ninjas to break out into like other realms as far as influence. I mean, you do acting, you do modeling, you do a ton of different things, and I want to get into all of those things during this podcast. But for those of you who, their first question is, oh my God, they finally have, Najee Richardson. I want to hear his story. Could you, in no specific amount of time, kind of talk about initially just the drive, the passion, what got you started in American Ninja Warrior, and then we'll kind of fast forward to like what you're doing now, all the different things. Does that sound good with you, kid?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. Najee, take it away, dude. How'd you get into this whole sport?
So I came from gymnastics. That was like a big deal for me way back in the day. I started gymnastics when I was 9 years old. Like my parents just needed to put me in something so I wouldn't kill myself. I was always jumping off of things. Literally, I was always jumping off of things, climbing things. So my parents were like, all right, we got to do something with him. My dad did high school gymnastics back in his day. He was a very accomplished gymnast. So he was like, all right, we'll put him in gymnastics and see how he does. Kind of took off with that right away, which was a lot of fun. So I stuck with that for about 11 years. And I got injured when I was about 20 years old. And decided that I was going to continue to, rehab and try and see if I could come back from that injury, which was a lateral meniscus tear in my right knee.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I had some ACL issues, and it wasn't looking good, especially for that time that I was coming up in, because I think that was right around 2011, 2012, right around the time the Olympics were going around. And I had been training for the Olympics that year. I was really going after it. I had a really good shot at competing at the Olympic trials. And then I got hurt. Yeah, I had a really
So what level
shot.
Gymnast were you?
I was I was a specific gymnast. I did all around, all throughout high school. Most gymnasts do. They'll do all around gymnastics for men's. That's 6 events. The rings, the vault, parallel bars, high bar, floor, and pommel horse.
Wow.
So I competed all 6 events, but when I was training for the Olympics, I only trained for 3 events: the floor, the vault, and the high bar. So
were those your 3 like favorite, or
those were my
most skilled?
3, I should say 3. Yeah, 3 favorites. Vault was my best event. Floor was also a big strength of mine, but high bar, I loved just flying around a high bar naturally, like that.
Which you still do to this day.
Yeah, literally. It was honestly like just my biggest motivation was just having fun in gymnastics. And then it kind of just became a way of life. It was all I knew from the age of 9 until I was 21 years old. It was all I did, all I put my focus into. It was basically my identity. So when it ended, which was around 2012, right around the time I kind of accepted like, hey, the Olympics, like It's not going to happen, dude.
Wow. How old were you at that time?
I was 21.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I was 21. And I was like, okay, like maybe we need to move on. Maybe we need to find something else. I can't really see myself training at the level that I was training at for another 4 years to try and make it, to the next Olympics. So I said, all right, like, let's try and find something else. Let's do anything. Let's find something. So for 2 years, I just looked for things. I was like searching
in limbo.
for something. Yeah, something that kind of like fill that void that gymnastics had left. And I did MMA, which was also really, really fun.
Okay.
But I didn't like getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
That's the biggest,
yeah. I was really good at it, but the problem that I had at MMA was I had a temper. So I would be sparring with someone and they catch me, with something, and I would just lose it. Nuts. So I didn't excel in that, but I had a lot of fun training, and I became a sparring partner for a lot of the guys in Bellator MMA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, so that lasted for about 2 years, from 21 to 23. And then I was sitting at home watching TV, kind of just flipping through the channels with my then girlfriend, now fiance.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. So we were just like flipping through the channels and Ninja Warrior popped on. So I was like, that is sick. Like, what is this? Like, this is
was that the first time you'd seen it?
It was the very first time. So I had watched, regular Ninja Warrior, like Sasuke, when I was
okay, the OG Japanese one.
Yeah, like, so I watched that. I knew what it was, but I had never seen American Ninja Warrior before. That was the very first time that I saw American Ninja Warrior. So I'm sitting there watching it with Mackenzie, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I think I can do that. Like, I was a gymnast for, however many years. Like, I should be able to do that. Like, that's not that hard. Like, that's what everyone says,
Yeah, right.
That's what everyone says. Like, that's not.
But
not
hard.
Everyone
who says that is like comes from being an elite level gymnast like yourself.
Right, but hang on, because it gets better. So Dan Galazinski, who's an OG ninja, one of the best guys during that time, he pops up on TV. And I competed with Dan. We were on the exact same team as kids.
No way.
Yeah, we were on the same
You and
team.
Galzinski?
Dan Galazinski.
What?
Yeah, we were both on Temple Boys Gymnastics team in Philadelphia when we were younger.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah, so he and he was always, he was older than me, so he was in the higher age group, but we we trained in the same gym, and we had known of each other for a very long time, obviously. And I saw him pop up on TV and I'm like, I know that guy. Like, I did gymnastics with him. So long story short, reached out to him on Facebook, and we kind of like talked for a bit, and he was like, hey dude, like, I'm actually in the process of building my gym, the Gravity Forge. At that time, he was just building it. He was like, I have a couple of obstacles up if you want to come in and just, see what it's like. So did that. Was absolutely horrible. Was not good, dude. I couldn't do anything. I didn't understand the salmon ladder. I think I tried the salmon ladder maybe 3 or 4 times and just was so afraid of just the falling.
Yeah, it's intimidating, dude. It's super intimidating.
Dude, it was so intimidating. I was like, maybe I'm not good at this as I thought I'd be. It took me like 100 tries to get up the work wall. 100 tries.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. Right. And you're like 5'8", 5'9"?
Yeah, 5'8", 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So like, could not get it. Just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out like the right technique. And I just, it was frustrating. So I'm like, I'm an elite level athlete. I should be able to do this. So I think that obsession with not failing and not like letting something defeat me was the initial kind of spark to doing an American Ninja Warrior. So I started doing it like once a week, like once every other week. And then I started getting really good. And over here on the East Coast, at that time, back in, like 7 years ago now, like the East Coast was very saturated with ninjas, like top level ninjas. Everyone's kind of branched off now, but back in the day, it was very saturated with big name ninjas. So I started training with Jamie Ron. I started training with Chris Wolcheski and Brian Wolcheski, Mike Bernardo, Chris DeGangi, like all of those guys.
Yeah, those OGs.
The OGs, yeah. So they were like, dude, you're really good. Maybe you should submit for the show. Like, why not? And at the time I'm like I'm good. Like, I don't think I'd be someone that would get on a TV show. Like, I'm just having
Look at you
fun
now.
like, I don't think I'd be someone like that's like a once in a million thing. So
Yeah.
I kind of like brushed it off. And then one of my buddies that I did MMA with, he was like, dude, like, can we go do Ninja Warrior? And I took him to Pinnacle Parkour, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jamie's
That
old
was
gym.
Jamie's old
Yeah.
gym. Yeah. So I took him to Pinnacle Parkour and we had a great time. And he was hooked from that very first day. He was hooked. And he's like, I'm going to submit for the show. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, if you're going to submit for the show, maybe I should submit too. Like, what the heck? Like, we'll do it together. We'll submit together.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a couple of months later, I got the call for season 7 of Ninja Warrior. Unfortunately, he did not that year, but he went off and had a great career as a model. So yeah, but that's kind of how it happened, honestly. And
Wow.
I submitted for the show on a whim because my friend was, and I got the call and, you know, just absolutely like destroyed myself. Oh, there's Ken's. Ken's, come say hi. Pop in the camera, so you may as well say hi. This is my fiance, Ken's.
Hello.
Hey, Kens.
How you doing?
But yeah, so I got on the show and did absolutely terrible. And that was the year we had Snake Crossing. We had Snake Crossing.
Oh, the
Oh, it's
one
that
that
super
took
slow
out
bounce
like,
obstacle you got like walk across.
Super.
or you could
challenging.
like, I think 1 or 2 people like sprinted and miraculously
Oh,
made
really?
it.
Yeah.
Everybody on it was usually like,
Well, so that year was like really, really cold. It was like,
Yep.
oh man, I wish I can remember how it was freezing. Like
That's the
everyone got
worst.
winter jacket.
I've hated competing in the cold. I think like the coldest one was probably OKC.
Yeah,
Or was it
OKC.
Dallas?
No,
Both
okay.
were cold.
Both were cold, but OKC was, I
worst.
mean,
I don't want to warm up. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to do this. And you're
Well,
like
it's
trying to
hard
warm up. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not even that it's cold too. It's that it's 4 a.m. as well. It's
Yeah.
like cold and
you've
it's
got
4 a.m.,
everything working against
and
you.
you're like, I don't want to do this. If I get wet, it's gonna be such a bad time.
It's gonna be awful,
Yeah.
dude.
Thankfully, I don't think
feel
I've ever gotten wet in the cold. I've been lucky enough to like never fall when it's like really cold.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that'd be rough.
I wish I could say that.
So was
I
it
could say
Snake
that.
Crossing? Was it Snake Crossing that got you that year?
Snake Crossing got me that year in qualifiers. I ran at 3. I want to say it was like anywhere from 3:30 to 4 a.m. was the time that I ran, and that was my rookie year. And I didn't really know anyone. I knew Dan Galazinski, but he kind of had his own crew at that time. And I mean, you guys know when you're about to compete, like you're in the zone, you're not really paying attention to anything else other than your performance and how you do. So I was just kind of there by myself, kind of like just waiting. So I'm warming up. And they don't tell. So, I mean, we know this, but maybe like the audience doesn't. We were there and my call time was 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm probably going to run in like another like hour, like, maybe let me warm up. I started warming up. Dude, I started warming up at 9:30. I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I warmed up at 9:30, got like super warm, did my whole like, spiel that I learned from gymnastics and mixed martial arts of how to warm up properly. And then I was done by 10:30, like waiting to run. I did not run until 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yep. This sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did that warm up about 2 or 3 more times, right?
Yeah. And then I did the warm up. I was like, maybe I should warm up again. I went over and I talked to one of the guys on the side, probably Peter. And I was like, hey, Peter, like, how many people until I go? And he was like, there are about 20 people, 20, 25. And I'm like, oh, that should go pretty quick. All right. Cool.
No.
Not quite. Not
Doesn't
quite.
go quick.
No,
Doesn't go quick.
Yeah. It's like,
So did you move on past the qualifiers that year?
No.
Because I know.
No.
Oh, really?
I went out.
Because I know
in
so many people fell there.
Yeah. I went out in qualifiers on Snake Crossing.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that was your first
That was my first
time.
That was my very first season. I went out.
Huh.
I went out in qualifiers on the 3rd obstacle.
Oh,
Dang.
okay.
Then he
So
came back though.
Yeah,
goes-
so
he did.
you got bit by the bug though, and you're like, hey, this is kind of fun. Like, let's go back and get it next year. Or were you like angry and was like, I didn't even get to prove myself. I want another shot at it.
Oh, I was so mad. I was so angry. I was so angry. Honestly, just like I don't even remember what I was angry at. I think more than anything, I was just like, I cannot believe I just embarrassed myself on national TV. Like
I'd be more mad. Like, man, I just warmed up for 3.5 hours to do that.
that too. That as well. I was like, I kind of went home and I kind of just assessed everything. I'm like, all right, I didn't realize that your call time is 10 p.m., but you might not run till 4 a.m. Like, I didn't know that. It was just like a whole lot of things that I think I was more annoyed at myself for not being more prepared.
Yeah.
But then how can you really be prepared for that? It's a whole other world.
You just got to talk to people. And
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, like having like your group of people that you train with. And, you know, I hadn't really established myself in Ninja. I kind of just showed up and like, I was only training like once a day in the open gym. So I didn't really know people.
Gotcha.
So I just spent like that whole next year just training, just trying to get to know all of the ninjas and, you know, pick their brains. I think I stalked literally Chris Wilczewski for like an entire year, just like, teach me, like I need to know this. But
he's a pretty good one to learn it from.
Yeah, I was like, I need to learn from somebody. And Chris was like the closest guy to me. So I was like, and he was like so welcoming. He just kind of took me under his wing and taught me literally everything that I knew and that I now know. And yeah, season 8 happened and kind of took off from there.
Is that your breakout year?
That was my breakout year. Yep.
What happened there? Where'd you compete? What obstacles did you beat?
It was great because it was in Philly that year, my hometown.
Hey,
and I was
Philly
like,
pride.
Dude, it was great. I didn't have to.
Was that what they did the whole Rocky montage with you? Or was that the following year after you had already like blown up?
I think that was the following year.
Okay. I just remember one of the years they did this huge, awesome thing. And it was like, you were basically Rocky and they did like the whole montage with you. And I was like, that's so cool.
I think that was later on though.
I don't remember now, honestly.
Oh,
I don't
but
remember.
That was you, right? They did that with you, right?
9.
Okay. Isn't 9 when you went to like stage 3?
9 was when I went to stage 3. Yeah. And they came to Philly to film me for USA versus the World. They did like a whole like B-roll package of me training for like USA versus the World that year.
Yeah.
I do remember them coming to Philly for that, but I don't remember the Rocky month.
Oh,
they
that's
all
right.
together.
Yeah, they really do. They really do.
I forgot we were teammates for that. Was that season 9? Was that?
Say it again?
When I didn't do. What season did I do USA with you?
That was season 10.
Yeah.
That was 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So you were on like USA vs World like back to back, like a couple years now.
Yeah, back to back.
Nice.
That's
Those are the fun, the glory days.
They really were the glory days. So I want to dive into, like you said, you're getting back into training. What does like a week look like for you when it comes to like training? Like, do you just kind of go to the gym and do ninja stuff, or do you do a lot of like fitness and cardio type things?
Well, this is a very different training year for me compared to most. Like back in the day, I'd be in the gym 6 days a week, like 2 or 3 hours at a time. And now
that's a lot.
Well, I had the time to do it.
Okay, fair.
Now I really don't have the time too much anymore. I'm involved in so many different things now. So I have been trying lately to get into the gym about like 2 days a week.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, 2 days a week. And I'll train I'll just train until my body says it's had enough, honestly.
Your body starts tapping out. Hey, I'm good.
Literally. I never look at the clock. I've never looked at the clock when I've trained, honestly. I've always just kind of gone until I was like, all right, like I'm starting to get tired. Maybe things are getting dangerous now.
Yeah, that's usually when injuries happen.
Exactly.
That's funny because I'm the opposite. I like always look at the clock because I know that if I don't give myself like a hard out, actually, at least back in the day, like I'd stay way too long and like I'd get injured and do stupid stuff. So I'd like have to hard out myself at like 2 hours or an hour.
That's smart. That's actually really smart. I should probably do that. I've never done it. Like I've never.
Well, it also depends because if you're actually in the gym going balls to the wall for like 2 hours, it's different than like. I also do it to keep myself accountable to not just be BSing for like 3 or 4 hours and wasting time, right?
Yeah.
So like I got to be out here in an hour. Like let me get like what I need to get done and then get
That's
out of
so
here.
smart, dude.
Because it's so easy to just go in there and start talking to people and then like next thing you know, like 3 hours have gone by.
Turn into a social hour.
Yeah.
And literally that is the reason why I don't time myself because I do that very thing. Like I'll go there and I'll just get in conversations with people and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go back to training. I look at my watch and it's like, dang, have I been talking to this guy for like 40 minutes straight?
Yep. Yep. Yes, you have. Because okay, and for those that are listening, like you didn't even compete this year on Ninja Warrior, so this season or this year has been different in your approach to training, right?
Yes.
Just because you've had time, you haven't been able to, or you haven't needed to
Actually,
focus
talk
solely
about-
on Ninja.
Talk about why you didn't compete. You had an ankle injury, right?
Yeah, so I was training for last season or this season, whatever you want to call it. Are we on was this season 13 that just passed?
Yes.
This was 13.
Yes,
So I was training for
13
season
just passed.
13, and we were about 2 weeks out from the competition, and I was training a balance obstacle, kind of going through like a course, like we would see in a qualifier. And I came off this balance obstacle just really, really weird. And normally I would bail. I would just, oh, that doesn't feel right. Let me jump off. But I was in the competition mindset. In my mind, I'm going, hey, like, if you fall, you don't get to say, hey, like, I'll try again. I just got to try and save this landing, simply. So that was just the mindset that I was in. Came off the block, and basically my toe caught the landing platform. So it pulled my foot underneath of me, and I landed. I still, to this day, don't understand how it's possible, but I landed on top of my foot. Like my butt landed on my foot, and I have so much speed moving forward that my foot basically just pops. Like my ankle just pops out of place. Which I initially, like, I didn't, it happens so fast. For anyone who's ever like broken an ankle or broken just anything or torn.
Was it a break?
It wasn't. It was a dislocation.
Oh God.
Did you like get like, are ligaments on still intact, or like did anything?
Ligaments were completely destroyed, but not to the point where I needed surgery.
Okay.
So landed, and I just felt this horrible just stretch, and you just hear it pops. You hear it. It just sounds like all your bones are just cracking. So initially when that happened, I didn't feel any pain right away because it happened so quickly.
Yeah, you got adrenaline and stuff.
Yeah, I had the adrenaline was going and everything. And I'm like, I just broke my ankle. Like, like I just broke my ankle. And then I look down at my ankle, I see that it's like completely distorted.
Kind of limp.
No. Turned in. And I blacked out. I don't know how. I don't know how long I was out for, but I was training by myself. And,
you just woke up.
I just woke up. Sweat. I just woke up in a pool of sweat, and like just out. I'm like, don't look at your ankle. It's broken. It looks crazy. Don't look at it. You'll probably black out again. So I army crawl. Anyone who's ever been to the movie lab in New Jersey, I have to army crawl. I army crawled to where my phone was. I got on the phone. I called my fiance. I'm like, hey, I just broke my ankle. Can you get to the gym? Like I don't know what to do. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not calling an ambulance. Like I'm not paying that bill. Like
I was like, that's not cheap.
I'm like, I'm not calling 911. An ambulance is not going to come and get me. We're not doing that. We're not going to do that. So I called her, and I'm like,
that's what happens when you start paying your own bills.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. That's all I thought about. Like, I wasn't thinking about the fact that I probably need to go to the hospital immediately. I was like, I'm not paying that bill. I'm not doing it.
So
I called her, and she's like 30 minutes away, like 35 minutes away. And I'm like, I think I can handle this pain for 30 minutes. Like, I can handle this. So I called her.
You have to. There's no other option, bro.
So I called her on the phone. She comes, and next thing I know, Clint Sarion, the Smiley Ninja, he pops in the gym, and he's like, "Dude, I heard what happened." She ended up calling him because he was closer.
Oh, okay.
So he comes, and he's like, "Dude, like, what can I do? What should I do?" And I'm like, it's almost like I was trying to keep him calm. I'm like, dude, we're
that's
cool.
the wrong guy, bro.
Yeah, exactly. For anyone who knows how high energy Clint is, like, he was the wrong guy to be there at that time.
My God.
He was like, "What can I do? Should I call the ambulance?" I'm like, "No, we're not calling an ambulance. Mackenzie will be here. She's gonna take me to everything will be fine." Meanwhile, I'm in just the worst pain of my life. So I'm trying to breathe. Dude, it was horrible. But that's what happened. So
when was this?
This was 2 weeks right before qualifiers.
So early March?
Early March. Yep, early March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
rough.
Yeah,
Like
so
how is it now? Can you like do you still feel like any
um it's good enough that I am able to do things now. I wear
yeah.
an ankle brace only because it is still a little weak. I have a
mm-hmm,
little bit of soreness kind of in the Achilles tendon area, which
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
was to be expected because I just wrecked all of my
Yeah.
ligaments. So I'm just it's a lot of rehab, man. A lot of just
Yeah.
trying to
It's a grind, man. Rehab is
it's a grind,
such a
yeah.
pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
and
like cuz I like destroyed my shoulder like 4 weeks before I was supposed to go compete in France.
uh,
So I ended up just doing rehab for like months and it's still not like
it's
100%,
it doesn't
but
I don't
like
think it ever kind of gets back to that 100% point unless you like full on stop.
you can get like so it's funny because it depends on the injury, but for
Yeah.
the most part, like my right shoulder in some ways, the one that like, I destroyed is actually stronger than my left in some ways now.
Oh,
Not
there you
in
go.
it's honestly not as stable, but because you do so much rehab, like you wouldn't have done as much rehab in certain things if you didn't
So
injure it.
true.
So that's why a lot of the time, like you can actually become stronger than you were before.
That's so
You
true.
probably can't become stronger than you could have been because if you would have done the same rehab with a healthy shoulder, then you would like have a really strong shoulder. But you can get
100%.
past to where you were. That's what like a lot of the guys told me because I'm still like I had to contemplate getting surgery or not because it was a grade 3 separation. So it's like right where like I probably should have maybe gotten surgery, but I'm trying to do it without.
Yeah.
But for 3 months, man, when I was in France, I just did a
Whew.
crap ton of rehab, and I still need to be doing it. And I kind of stopped because I was like, okay, like it's starting to feel good, so I'm like, I don't need
Yeah.
to do this anymore, but I have to keep doing it if I want it to like keep getting better.
That's the hardest
Um,
thing when you're like, oh, like I feel good, like maybe I don't need to do this anymore.
no, yeah, you have to keep doing it. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, dude, that's the rehab is like the most important thing for me right now. That and like the discipline of looking at things and going, maybe
This isn't worth it.
Is it
yeah,
worth
is
it?
worth it? Yeah.
That's
What's the risk
crazy.
versus
Yeah.
reward on this one?
It was so nice when you like first start doing ninja where you have like no care. You're just like, I could do all this stuff. There's no like no risk involved. Now I'm looking at stuff and I'm like risk reward ratio, not worth it. I'm
Nah.
out.
Dude, it's so funny because I train Josiah Pell and occasionally I'll help
That kid's
train
tall.
Joe Meisner. And
I like Joe. He's a good kid.
dude, they're both awesome. But they go to
Miser. He's
gyms
not a
with
kid.
no fear.
Used to me. Yeah.
Oh, no
yeah.
fear? Yeah.
They go in with no fear. And I remember being like that. And now I'm just like,
You learn eventually.
Because you just
One
you
way
just
or
hit your
another.
new you just hit a new
like, don't need
decade
to
this
do
year, didn't you?
that.
Didn't you? You just started a whole new decade, right? Like you're in the 30s now, bro, right?
I'm in the 30s. So
Ooh,
my birthday is
congrats.
dude, thanks. So it's funny because my birthday is March the 26th, and I dislocated my ankle
Oh,
early March. So I was like, "This is how you bring in your 30s on
Yes,
crutches.
sir.
on
Yes, sir.
crutches.
This is how you bring in
Oh.
your 30s on crutches."
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a bummer. You guys were talking about this earlier, but touch a little bit about like so like now that you're 30 when you're training, how different does it feel than when you were training when you were in your like
Yeah, like the
20s?
mindset.
Not even the mindset, but more like the physical like
Ooh.
It's man, dude. It's funny because now, when I was in my early 20s, like we were just saying, like I had no fear of anything, nothing. Like I did whatever I wanted to do if it sounded like a good idea. Like the backflip on the salmon ladder is a great example. Like probably I wouldn't say the most, but one of the most dangerous stunts that I've tried in ninja, doing a back
Yeah.
on the salmon ladder, and the bar weighed like 5 pounds.
Oh
It was just
my.
pure metal. So in my mind, I'm thinking, man, this is gonna look so cool on video. Like no one else can say they've done a backflip on the salmon ladder.
That's
And
true.
that was-
I can't.
that was my drive though. That was my drive. It was like, hey, like I want to just separate myself from the pack. I want to be able to do all these things that no one else can do. That was always kind of my motivation. And now it's kind of gone from that to like, man, that hospital bill is going to be expensive.
the crazy part is like I've talked to like a lot of old school ninjas, and the big mentality change is like now they think about it and they're like, if I'm not getting paid to do this, like why am I risking it? Like that's the thing. Like some people get paid like to do these certain stunts, and we're out here just doing certain things for free. Like it's dumb.
Dude. And honestly, that's the other thing, because I was, I've kind of like transitioned into that mindset as well, because I was at an NNL not too long ago, and I was looking at the balance obstacle, and I was at a point in the competition where if I would have gotten past this balance obstacle, I probably would have had an opportunity to place in like the top 5, like, you know, kind of that range, like top 5 for the elites. And the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, man, my ankle is like newly recovered. This balance obstacles, I'm not vibing with it right now. I'm good. So I jumped on it and then I jumped off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you
And
go.
everyone's like, dude, like, why didn't you do that? Like you probably could have gone really far in the course. And I'm like, but like, why? Like, what is the point? You
Rose
know,
above.
what am I gaining from it?
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
So,
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah. I've gotten the vibe that that's kind of a lot of the OGs mindsets.
Yeah, it phases you out after a bit. You're like, it's really, because when it's fresh and it's new, everything's exciting. But once you've kind of like done all the stunts and done all these things and like gotten a couple like bad falls or injuries, you're kind of like, there's literally like the risk to reward. There is no reward. Like
None.
it's all ego. It's all just like, oh, I did this.
A lot of views on
cool.
Instagram.
Yeah, but like that doesn't it doesn't do anything. And sometimes you'll do a stunt and like the video will flop, right? So you're like, man,
so
I did this for
So
nothing.
true.
Like, so yeah, no, it's been a big mentality change. If you could, we've talked about this before, but I think you have I think we have this in common that like I was very passionate about filmmaking when I was growing up. I thought I was gonna like be in that industry, and I think you did too. How is that? Are you still like? Is that still one of your goals to become like an actor and be in that industry?
100%.
Yeah.
I've realized over the last I want to say 3 years now, to getting to that field, that is a grind in its own right. Like you really have to grind. And I'm over the last year and a half, especially after I got injured, I'm starting to realize that with the amount of opportunities that I'm now getting. It's funny because when I got injured, you know, at the beginning of the year in March, it was like the worst thing in the world. It was horrible. But as time went on, I started really focusing a little bit more on the things that I'm passionate about outside of Ninja.
Yeah.
And things are now finally, after 7 years of doing Ninja, I would have thought that having a presence on TV might, you know, kind of jumpstart me into that career, but it never really did.
Yeah.
Wow.
But taking time away from Ninja and just focusing solely on that, like the amount of opportunities now that I'm starting to present themselves to me it's kind of like showing me that I need to really focus in on just that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely the focus for me is acting and you know, the entertainment industry. I love character building. I love trying to take something off of a page and bring it to life, you know, bringing characters to life to entertain people like that. Just
have you done like acting classes and like all that stuff?
Yep. Yeah,
that's sweet.
Actually,
man. I could see you as like an actor. I think
dude, I love it, man. I have so much fun with it. Just kind of like shedding your own life for a couple of hours and jumping into something else. It's just cool. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it, man. So I'm trying now having, you know, realized that I got to grind for this. I'm trying to now shift the focus from being this top level ninja that I have tried to be for the last 7 years of my life. I'm now trying to shift that to trying to do what I can to get into the entertainment industry. You know, build my brand, try and get myself out there so I have more opportunities and bigger opportunities to make that happen.
Yeah, he's been killing his Instagram. He just keeps posting these blue steel pics.
I see them.
I'm slaying.
I'm here for them, dude. You got the face for it.
Appreciate you guys.
Wait, so what does that mean for Ninja though? Is it still a part of your life? Is it perhaps just no longer front and center, but maybe more of a backseat kind of thing? Like, because we got new season coming up.
Yeah, priority with Ninja has changed.
Okay.
Ninja's always going to be a part of my life in some way, shape, or form, whether I'm competing on the show or I'm just training. I'm just like going to the gym to have fun. Ninja's always going to be a part of my life. But as far as the priority for Ninja goes, that's definitely changed for me. I think first of all, like you both can attest to this, like within your own careers, but I feel like I personally, for me, have done everything that I can do in Ninja. Like I've done everything that I feel like is possible for me to do within the sport. The only thing I haven't done is win. That's the only thing I haven't really done in the sport yet. And I am 100% okay accepting that I'm not willing to train at the level that I need to win.
Or make the same amount of sacrifices.
Exactly. Like I'm just not willing to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
think
still love it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like that shows a lot of maturity from your side. Because I think a lot of people get like blindsided by like the goal and the dream of winning. And
Yeah.
I'm reading this book. It's called. I just started a new book. What's it called? I think it's called Atomic Habits or something like that.
Okay.
Oh.
But the guy talks about, because a lot of books talk about like goals being like you need to set good goals and like do this, do that. And he was saying like goals are trash. Like don't have goals. Because the thing with goals is, a goal is like, think about like your life, right? Like 95% of it is going to be trying to achieve that goal, and that's like the part you're living in, and then the 5% is like the actual goal. Like, so you want 5% of your life to be good, and that 95 is just like a shit show where you're like trying to achieve the 5%.
I like that perspective.
So he talks about and I just started this book. It's actually really interesting, but he talks about like figuring out your system, and your system is just like your daily habits, your daily life, and what you do.
Yeah.
And focusing on that, and not like worrying about the goal. Like that'll take care of itself if you take care of the system and what you're doing daily and your habits. And if you have a really good system, then by default you're going to achieve like greatness, whether that's your goals or whether that's something that you didn't even think you could achieve, right?
Dude, I love that.
Saying like all the little 1% things you could do to make yourself a better person daily, like compound over like 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. So if you just daily become better and better, you'll eventually become the person that you want to be, that'll be able to achieve these things. And then, but he also talks about it could work against you, right? So if you're like doing like things that are making you a little worse every day, like habits, maybe it's just like 1% worse, right? Or a small percentage, but over years that compounds. So you have to just make sure that you're doing more good than bad.
Yeah.
And in essence, you'll grow. But I like reading that book made me understand that like just being like, oh, I want to win Ninja Warrior, and being like if I have crazy motivation and crazy drive, I'll achieve it. That's not how it works. You have to have the system behind it and the foundation to be able to achieve those things. But I'm a lot like you, to where like I actually don't think I was ever driven by winning. I don't think I ever like saw the show and they're like, I really want to win and win $1 million. Like the money would be great. I don't care for the fame. I've never been here for that. And I'm like you, to where like I know that if I put in like the time and I had the motivation and the drive, I could probably do it.
Yeah.
But like at this point, like it's not worth it to me. Like I've just other things that I want to do, and I've kind of lived that life to where I'm like grinding super hard training, and it was fun for like a season, but I'm a little past that, to where like I want to do other things, build other things, like, you know, the podcast and just different things that I can call my own, right? That can't, like, if I don't ever win, like I won't have anything to show for it. But these things that I'm building on my own, I will have these things and be like, look, I built this. But if I just try to win a TV show for like the next 10 years of my life, and even if I'm ready to win, like things can happen. Like, I mean, with Daniel,
nothing's
he was ready.
Guaranteed.
Like shit can happen and you won't achieve it. And then you'll look back and be like, wow, I spent 10 years chasing this goal and I never achieved it. And then like you're just bummed, versus if you focus on like the system, what you're doing, and you enjoy that and you don't care about the goal, then like it is what it is, right?
Dude, I agree with that 100%. I want that book too. But you brought up a really great point, because that reminds me of my gymnastics kind of like downfall for me. Like I spent 11 years of my life trying to make it to the Olympics. My goal was to make it to the Olympics. I didn't even look at the number of achievements up at the point where I retired that I had in gymnastics. All I saw was the fact that I did not make it to the Olympics, and it was devastating. And it took me years, literally up until I want to say maybe like late 20s, where I was finally just like, man, like I did a lot in the sport of gymnastics. You know, I created my own skill. You know, I was one of the youngest elite level.
Wait, you created your own skill?
Yeah. So I had my own skill in gymnastics that no one ever did up until that point that I did. It was a back tuck punch double front on the floor.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was my skill. It didn't get named after me because I never had the opportunity to compete it in an international competition. Yeah. So that's the only way that a skill in gymnastics gets named after you, if you're the first one to compete it in an international competition, which I never had the opportunity to do because of my injury. But I was the first to do it. I think to this day, no one else has ever competed that skill before.
Wow.
So that was a huge accomplishment. I was one of the youngest elite level athletes in my area at the time. I was a senior national champion. I was, national champion on vault and floor. Like I did a lot in the sport.
Wow.
And I never actually took the time to like look at that and appreciate that and kind of like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know what I mean, all I ever saw was the fact that I didn't achieve
Didn't
my
achieve the
goal.
goal. Yeah.
So
No,
it
that's
diminished everything else in my eyes that I did in the
Wow.
sport. And it felt like it was for nothing. And I didn't want to
Mhm.
make that mistake with Ninja this time.
yeah.
So I started really just focusing on the number of things that I've done in this sport in particular. You know, I've gotten to compete for my country in USA versus the world.
Yeah.
I've gotten to be a mentor on A&W Junior every season that they've had.
Wow.
I've been on a billboard, you know, for the show in California. Like that's super, super cool. And I've gotten to do all of these crazy, crazy things. And now because of Ninja, you know, that brought Guinness Book of World Records my way. That opened a door there. And I have 2 world records in Guinness Book of World Records now. So like I've done a
Wow.
lot. Like I've gotten to do a lot in this, you know, the
What are
realm
those records?
of Warrior.
You have the Lachey record. What's the other one? I didn't know you had
The
two.
other one is farthest Lachey from a bar to a wall.
A wall.
Yeah,
Just
so like a
like
cat
painting?
grab.
You splat?
So like
Oh, okay,
Lachey
okay.
from a bar to like a cat grab on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just start stacking those up. Lachey to like this kind of hold to nunchucks. Like, just keep going, bro. You could have.
Wait,
Dude,
doesn't
that's
it
the-
cost a lot of
honestly,
money to do a
That's
world
the
record?
plan, man.
Yeah. What'd you say, Daniel?
Naj, does it cost money to like set up a world record thing?
don't think
I mean,
so.
can you just call and say, "Hey, I've got a world record I'd like to attempt. Come up and."
It's a process actually. You have to go on like the website and everything, kind of like basically almost do an application like you would for American Ninja Warrior, to be completely honest. And then your application has to be approved. So that takes a couple of months. And then if they approve your record, they send you the guidelines and you have a certain period of time to submit all of your evidence. And the evidence review process is the most insane thing I've ever seen. You have to have a camera on. You have to have one camera on from start to finish. So from the time that you get to the gym and you start, you know, setting up the equipment, you have to have a camera filming the entire process. You have to have 3 eyewitnesses, even though the camera's on the entire time.
Yeah.
You have to have photos of everything, and then the measuring process, depending on whatever, you know, what the goal is, or the timed process or the measuring process. You have to have a professional in that field, and then they have to submit their credentials to Guinness Book of World Records as well. So it's nuts, dude. So I broke the world record for the Lachey way back in like 2017, 2018, I think it was, when I did 17 and a half feet. And that video and all of the evidence, it wasn't accepted.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't accepted because I had everything there except a professional like person who measure things essentially.
A professional measurer.
Yeah, like someone who like has an expertise in measuring things.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have someone there to confirm with their credentials, like, yes, this is the proper measurement, it got dismissed. So I had to wait a whole year. I had to wait a whole year to do it again.
So there's a time frame on how often you can, or how many times you can submit? Like you had to wait a year?
No, it's not even that there's like a certain process, but they just get so many applications in that it usually takes them about a year to even get to your application.
Whew.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wow. Got any more records you're going to be breaking soon?
I got a few.
Oh, dang.
That I'm going out for. And no one told me that I wasn't allowed to say this, but I was just invited to go out to Rome next year to compete on Guinness World Record TV show.
Wow.
That's sick,
bro.
What the?
Yeah. So
I might be down the street from you in France. I might pull up, say what's
let's
up.
go.
That is awesome, man.
That's cool. Yeah. Now, have you ever been to Europe at all?
Yeah. So I used to travel to Europe all the time, especially when I was in gymnastics, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
I used to go out to London and Ireland. I even went out to Germany at one point. I was always out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. No.
I miss it. I actually have not been back to Europe since I retired from gymnastics. So it's going to be cool out there.
No, for sure, man. I mean, I'm from there, right? So I love it. But actually, like, usually it's kind of a hassle for me to go out there. But for the first time this year when I went, I like rented a car for like the 3 months that I was there, and it like changed everything for me.
There you
'Cause
go.
before then, like I was too young, so like I was just kind of stuck wherever
Uh,
like my parents or my family would be at. But now that I rented a car, I was like, this is sick. Like I can go wherever I want. I can like take a train and go like anywhere. Like it was really fun. So I'm looking forward to going back. Not in the wintertime though, because
Not in the
it's
wintertime.
miserable during the winter.
man, I was gonna say I believe that the show is gonna be filming late February. No, late January, early February.
Okay. I might be down. I might be down.
Of next year, this
Wait.
coming year?
Huh?
Of this coming year?
No, yes,
Oh, no.
2022.
Oh, snap. That's coming up, dude.
That's coming up, man.
Whew.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Italy, I've been making home cooked pizzas, bro. It's like completely off, but I've been slaying these pizzas. Like,
Would
oh
you
my-
say they're level, worthy of Italian actual pizzas?
I need a pizza oven because like the thing with like a regular oven in the house, it doesn't get hot enough.
So your
mine
pizzas
actually gets
suck?
up to 550, which is pretty hot. But like regular pizza ovens get up to like 1,000 or 900, I think. So it like makes it.
Oh
like,
shoot, that's like double.
it's so
Dude.
it's
Wow.
If you ever need someone to test your pizza, let me know. I love pizza.
crazy. They're
Naj, you
God.
got to jump in line, dude. I still haven't tried these supposed
I think I'm
legendary
gonna make them tonight
pizzas.
at Matt's. I think we're supposed to go. But you're doing your thing tonight.
Nah, I'm doing my thing tonight. Cool. Thanks for the invite.
That's on you, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
What do you mean it's on me? You invite me the day of, guys. This always happens. I answer my phone and it's
can't
like, kid, I'm
invite
like,
you to
hey,
another
kid, what's
guy's
going
house,
on?
bro. That's
And he's
not
like,
on me.
hey, today we're doing a thing. And I'm like, well, cool. I already have my schedule for today like 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
Bro, I can't invite you to another man's house. That's not
That's-
actually. We're not gonna get into this. But Matt
We'll go to counseling
sabotaged
after
me.
this.
No, Matt sabotaged me. We had like a deal. We were gonna do a pizza off
Mm-hmm.
Saturday,
Pizza off?
like a food war type thing.
Uh-huh.
You know? It's me,
Bro.
Sage, and him. And I make the dough because you got to make the dough 24 hours in advance, let it rest. And like I sent him a picture of the dough, and I'm like, "You ready, bro?" And then he goes, "Oh, I can't do it Saturday anymore." And I'm like, "This guy's sabotaging me, bro. Like I made the dough too early. Like I'm gonna lose now."
Oh,
Dude, that's when you just make it for yourself.
I did, yeah. Then I made them
Yeah.
yesterday, and they were sick.
There you
But
go.
yeah, no, I think I'm gonna buy a pizza oven now because
Let's go.
It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be
get
sick.
it, get it.
But
So
yeah, no,
Naj,
that'll be cool.
we got. I mean, while we got you, I am super curious about just like life. So your dad was an athlete as well, right?
Yep.
Did you guys? You posted a video with you and your dad like doing backflips at one point. Is that true? It's
Yep.
like because I'm like vaguely remembering. I'm like I remember scrolling through Instagram at one point and being like, oh my god, this guy does backflips with his dad. Like, and I was like, I can't do backflips with my dad. I was like, I could kick a soccer ball with my
Your dad
dad.
was also like an athlete. Like he was like
Yeah,
a pro
but-
soccer player. No,
Yes, no, he's a soccer player, so I could kick a soccer ball with him, and we could
There you
do
go.
that all day. But I was like,
do a little
man,
bicycle kick. No,
I mean, I could.
oh, not anymore.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's been a
Maybe.
minute. But are you an only child? Like, what was like home life for you growing up? Like, you close to your parents still? Like,
Very
can you
close
talk?
to- very, very close with my parents. Growing up, it's funny. I was just having this conversation with my fiance not too long ago. I felt like I was such a crappy kid growing up. I had a lot of I had a lot of things going on as a kid that kind of made the relationship with my parents a little bit rougher. So growing up in gymnastics, first of all, growing up in Philly, didn't come from the wealthiest family. Both my parents didn't have a lot of money. We definitely weren't necessarily poor, but we weren't middle class either. You know, we were kind of like in that really weird area, but we grew up in a very, really, really rough neighborhood in Philadelphia, one of the worst areas in the city at that time in the 90s and early 2000s. A lot of gang activity, a lot of drugs. It was a bad area to be in. And I started gymnastics when I was 9 years old, right? And gymnastics is not a cheap sport. It's a very, very expensive sport. So both my parents, you know, especially after I became, it's just once I reached an age where I was very impressionable, and my parents were afraid of me getting caught up into a certain lifestyle because of everything that was going on in my, you know, neighborhood. They were like, we got to do something to make sure that he stays on the right path. So they put me in gymnastics, and they put me in a really, really expensive, the top league of gymnastics, junior Olympic gymnastics, which is very, very expensive. But for any aspiring male gymnast that wants to go to the Olympics, that's where you start, JO Gymnastics. So they put me in that. There was a gym that just opened in Philadelphia, Temple Boys Gymnastics, and the tuition was like astronomical for them at that time. So both my parents worked 2 jobs. I think at one point my mom worked 3 jobs.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Just to be able to afford it. But we were still in like such a crappy area. And as you get older, and when you're a teenager, all you see are the things that you don't have, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. You can't necessarily see the hard work and the crazy sacrifice that your parents are doing daily for you. You only see the things that you don't have and the things that other kids do have. So in gymnastics, a lot of my teammates, I would say 90% of my teammates were very, very wealthy, came from just wealth, and I noticed that, at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, I just start seeing my teammates, I go to their houses for parties and these things, and they live in mansions, and, you turn 16 years old and their parents are buying them, BMWs and just these crazy cars. And I'm just like, it makes you look at what you don't have. And I think I became very resentful for my parents. I never wanted to bring my teammates to my neighborhood. And I just was very resentful of my parents unjustifiably at that time. And as I got older, I started realizing, man, you were such a little crap. You were such a little douche, man. And I was able to start appreciating things with my parents. So my relationship, once I got older and on my own, it got very, very strong with my parents. And I have a very, very strong relationship with them now. But yeah, when I was younger, man, I was not the nicest kid to my parents. It makes me sad. I get emotional thinking about it.
Did you have any siblings or no?
Say it again.
You didn't have any siblings?
I had a half sister, but we weren't close. And we're the age difference is like 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was never really close with my half sister, but I was an only child, man. So it was just me and my parents, really. And yeah, dude, I get, like I said, I get emotional and I get like really sad just thinking about it.
You turned out great for an only child.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's true. That's true. And on another positive note, you still got the rest of your life, man, to continue, building upon that relationship. I feel like the older that I get, the more I can look back and appreciate the sacrifices that my parents have made. 100%. And now I have, the ownership and responsibility on my end to say, hey, I have a phone. I can just call them and thank them. I can check in on them. We can visit together. One of my favorite things in all of my life right now is to spend time with my family. Like that is like the greatest thing for me. Anywhere we're at, I'm like, I love this.
Literally the same. We, me and my fiance took my parents. My dad's never been to Disney World, right? He's never been to Disney World. And my mom took me to Disney World like 3 or 4 times as a kid. And I always remember talking about like, times at Disney World and Islands of Adventure and, Universal. And my dad would just sit there and he's like, man, I'd love to go. I've never been. And I would always get so sad. So this year, back in August, me and my fiance, we took my parents to Disney World. So my dad got to for the first time. And dude, that was honestly for me, one of the coolest things to be able to do, like pay for a vacation for my parents. We paid for the whole thing.
Wow.
And just like, we were in Disney World for 6 days, I think. And dude, it was one of the coolest things I've ever been able to do for them. I hope to be able to do more things like that, bigger things. But yeah, dude, it's now like in my older age, like one of my favorite things to do is just call my mom up on the phone or just, go have lunch with my dad or something like that. Like it.
They're both still in Philly?
They're both still in Philly. Yep.
Nice.
That's cool.
Wow. Dude, well, thanks for sharing that whole portion and part of your life. Dude. That's awesome, man, and super encouraging. And I guess the takeaway for the younger listeners is like,
don't be a little douche.
Don't be a little brat.
Yep. Look at things through the lens of your parents. Like, take a step back and be grateful. Like, we truly, live in a world where we can have a lot of say in our lives, and we can. Hopefully it doesn't take too long for us to, come to a place of realizing just how, much our parents, our loved ones that people have sacrificed for us. So that's a good deal. Now, as it pertains to like life right now, Naj, what's up next for you? So you talked a little bit about, your upcoming trip to Rome, which is amazing. What does a day in the life look like for you right now? Can you shed a little light on that?
Day in the life for me it's like my entire morning is going through my emails, literally, and like replying back. That's literally my entire morning is going through emails, replying back to sponsorship deals or replying back to like different opportunities in terms of like social media deals and things like that. I've finally, so with Ninja, there's not a lot of opportunities for us to make money, right?
Yeah, you don't say.
There's just not. We're not that kind of sport. So we have to try and find a way of doing that on our own. And with the rise of social media, I feel like I have finally kind of like carved out a little space for me to make money on social media by being an influencer. So a lot of my time now, especially financially, has been doing that, being an influencer for different companies, promoting that on social media. And I'm very, very strict about the things that I promote on social media because I want it to be as authentic as possible. So I'm always going through the products and trying to see, okay, what do I actually like and what do I dislike? Because the worst thing in the world, and I did this one time and I said I would never do it again, was promote a product that I absolutely
don't like, don't use.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
Been there.
It was
been there, done that.
It was an energy drink way back right before 2020. I want to say I forget, like it was like a 6-star nutrition something. I was not a fan. It was gross. I wasn't a fan of anything. I wasn't a fan of the ingredients. I wasn't a fan of the taste. I wasn't a fan of the flavor. I wasn't the message statement. Nothing. I wasn't a fan of anything.
I feel that.
But at the time, it was like the very first big, like, hey, we'll pay you this much if you promote it. It was like the biggest deal I had ever gotten at that time. And I was like, it's worth it.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, hey, I need to pay my bills somehow. So
exactly. So I was like, it's worth it. So I did it. And I got into a conversation with someone. And it was like the most passive aggressive like conversation I've ever gotten into. And the guy was like, basically just like, man, I hate these influencers. Like, I just got this product from them. And like, it's the grossest like thing in the world.
No.
And I was just sitting there. He wasn't talking about me. He was talking about another influencer. But I was just sitting there just like,
that's me.
I did that. Like, I just did that to someone.
Oh, no.
So I was like, in that moment, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never going to promote something that I don't like. So
I've had to do that a few times, like where like a brand will send me products and I think it's trash. Yeah. But I always feel bad either way because like they're like, hey, so what do you think? And I'm like, it's trash, bro.
It's trash, bro. What are you doing?
I'm very like open about it now. Like there's what is the company? There's one company, I forget the name of it, but they reached out to me. They were like, hey, like we'd like to pay you like, blah, 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 to promote this, like do 2 or 3 Instagram posts with a couple of story slides. We'll pay you this much for it. The term is 60 days, whatever. And they were like, I was like, okay, cool. Like that sounds great, but I need a couple of samples first before I agree to this. And they sent me a couple of samples and I was like, yeah, I just don't think this is a good fit for me. Like if anything, especially if they're really nice, if it's a really, really nice like person that like reaches out to me, I'll just be like, yeah, I just got a lot going on right now. Like I got a lot of other.
I can't take this on my plate.
Yeah. So like now actually, I'm really good at like rejecting certain things.
Oh, nice. That's a skill in and of itself.
We all, I was trying to find like a sponsor, like it was like a drink sponsor for like the podcast, and they sent me some stuff.
He sent it right back.
I like what they were. I'm not gonna say who they were. I don't want to like put them on blast, but like I tried this stuff and it was good. Like, but dude, it destroyed my stomach. Like, anytime I drank it, like my stomach was trash for like, the next 2 days. And I hit him up and I was like, hey, like I like your product still, but like it makes me sick. Like, and they were like, oh, we'll try to like space it out. And when I'm drinking it, and I'm like, man, it just tastes like chemicals. Like,
I'm God,
done. Like, I'm done with it.
No, yeah, that's definitely something I look out for now. And the 2 energy drinks that I've been working with over the last couple of months have been Zoa Energy and Body Armor.
Yeah, I actually like Body Armor.
I love Body Armor.
I love Body Armor. Yeah,
love Body Armor because I've been trying to it's funny how we get older and things change. We start looking at nutritional facts and stuff like that.
Yeah. We realize we only have one body and we're not immortal.
Exactly. So now, like, all I do is look at the ingredients now, you know what I mean? I try and figure out like what works for me and works well for my body. And I've learned that things that have a lot of sugar in them just doesn't agree with me anymore. So that's been like my main takeaway, like how I've been doing my stuff.
Gotcha. So you start your day off with business, with work as usual.
Yeah, work is literally, I try and get all my work obligation things taken care of in the morning so that the rest of the day I can
That's a discipline.
Yeah, take time to just do whatever I want to do with the rest of my day.
Wow.
Training. I'll try and train early afternoon to evening, depending on like what I've got going on. And I'll spend time with my fiance. Like we love spending time together, going out to, you know, eat or just walking around the city, like taking a walk or going to work.
It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, we love it. We love just walking. I mean, we're in a great spot in Philadelphia. So we just like walk downtown or in Center City, walk the Parkway, just like, you know, try and spend time together. And then after that, I try and spend my evenings looking for opportunities. So every night I'll sit on my computer, I'll go look for casting calls. I'll, you know, reach out to agents. I will just look for different possible opportunities that fit in my brand. And that's what I do every single evening.
Wow. Nice. Wow. Staying on top of things, man.
What time you go to bed?
It depends. If I'm like on a roll and I'm like, oh, I just found this guy, or like, oh, I just found like this casting opportunity, I'll be up. I get addicted to it after a while, and like I get obsessed. So every now and then, like if I'm on a roll, I won't go to bed until like 2. I'll cap myself at 3 in the morning. I cap myself.
I feel you on that.
In the morning.
That's crazy.
And the earliest I usually go to bed is like around midnight.
Okay. Yep. I feel you. Kids over here like, it's 10:30 p.m. Bro. I gotta go to sleep. That's true.
he's not watching anime. He's doing, which is crazy.
That's fair.
Dude, I'm trying. Like that's kind of like my thing. Like every evening, and that's why in the morning it's great because I'll wake up and I'll go check my emails and it's like, oh.
What time do you wake up though? If you're going to bed that late, it's gotta be.
Again, it depends. If I get to bed at 12, I'll wake up around like 9. If I go to bed at 3, I'm waking up at like 11:30, 12.
Gotcha. Because you can create your own schedule, really.
Yeah. I've been, especially in the winter times, like I think I'm gonna try to wake up a little earlier now, because I've been waking up around like 10 ish. But I sleep like 10 hours. Like I don't kid around my sleep, like 8-10 hours.
Yeah,
I try not to focus too much on like what time I'm waking up more than about like how many hours I'm actually sleeping.
That's a crazy luxury to have most of the time, to be able to just like not set an alarm and just be like, I wake up when I wake up. You know,
most of the world has
the social media
no option.
Life is real.
Yeah. The crazy part for me is if I ever set an alarm, it never wakes me up. I'll wake up like a minute before it goes off every time. Like really? I set a 9:30
That happens to me all the time too.
I woke up at like 9:26 today. Even with the hour change, my body was like, "What's good, bro? I'm on it." I was like, that's crazy.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Crazy. Are you guys snoozers? Because that's why it's hard for me to set an alarm.
I can't. If I hit the snooze button, I know that I'm not going to wake up again because then I'll sleep through it the second time. Yeah. So if I hit that, if my alarm goes off and I hold it in my hand, I literally say, okay, get up right now or just sleep in.
or just sleep in.
Yep.
You say your alarm's like pretty close to like, you're like in a rush. Like you're like, okay, I have like 30 minutes to get ready.
Yeah, I usually set a pretty tight parameter from the time that I wake up to the time that I have to like leave for the day. I've got it down to like an exact science. I'm like, okay, get up, restroom, shower, change, eat, run out the door, and you're right there on time, which can be stressful. It's probably not the best way.
You said on time?
It depends on what I'm doing, okay?
No, Daniel, I can agree with that. I do the exact same thing, man. Like I have a window where it's like, I know if I set my alarm at this time, I'm going to say, I got at least 15 minutes. Like, I can do this. So I don't even give myself the opportunity for that. If I have to make it to an event or something, I will literally set my alarm where it's like, you have to get up now. You have exactly like 5 or 10 minutes in like the bathroom. You can like cook yourself something to eat and then you can get out of the door. And by the time you hit the car, you're going to make it to wherever you need to be within the window of 3 minutes early.
I was like that for like my college days for sure. But then after college, I've been like, I kind of like waking up and having like a solid hour to just like chill.
Nah, man,
Yeah.
I gotta live life on the edge.
I gotta live life on the edge, he says. Okay. Well, Naj, for the last couple of minutes that we have you,
You gotta go
'cause-
soon, right?
Yeah, man, but I'm enjoying this talk, man. I miss you
For
guys.
sure.
Yeah.
We gotta get you in the studio, bro. 'Cause
It's
this is
true.
fine. I like this, but it's so much nicer to have people in person.
Dude,
Yep,
I gotta get
there's-
down there, man.
Have you ever been to Houston?
Yeah, I've been to
Yeah, you've
Houston.
been
My
here-
grandfather actually used to live in Houston. I used to go to Houston all the time to see him as a kid.
Oh,
yeah,
word.
okay. Yeah, we
That's
gotta get you out
awesome.
here for some reason.
All right. But before we leave you, though, give us a couple. Can we do a couple like rapid around like fun facts? All right, because we were talking a little bit prior to starting the podcast, and so a couple questions like, okay, do you prefer movies or TV shows?
TV shows,
TV shows. Okay. What's your favorite genre?
fantasy.
Fantasy. Oh, okay. Okay, kid, you got any? You want to throw in?
What?
Any questions?
Fun facts?
Yeah.
Bro, this guy's putting me up on the stand with your. I'm gonna go with a little deeper. It's gonna be a little deeper question.
Okay.
What's a bad habit you have?
Oh no.
Ooh.
Pick like the third or fourth one that comes to mind, because first and second might be too.
I would say procrastination, maybe.
Okay. That's like the one for our generation. Favorite type of genre of music?
90s hip hop.
90s hip hop. There we
Top
go.
3 rappers.
Oh snap.
Will
I'll let
Smith.
you go. I'll let you go top 5.
Will
This guy said
Smith.
Will Smith.
Yes.
Will Smith.
Will
That's
Smith.
crazy.
Ludacris.
Hey.
Top five.
Yeah.
Ludacris. Will Smith.
I thought you said 3.
Oh, that's a hard one for me.
That's why I said 5. It's hard to do. 3.
That 5. Oh, you said 5. Yeah, 5 that's a big number though. That's a lot.
DMX.
Okay.
Hey.
Love DMX. Ice Cube.
Oh
That's
wow.
a crazy list. I've never heard
That's
this list.
crazy
before.
list.
Ice Cube and
Round it off.
who gets that last spot?
He's gonna round it
Yeah,
off
who
with like
gets it? Who
Snoop Dogg
gets
or
it?
something.
No.
Well, now he can't, kid, because you just said that.
Definitely not. Ah man, I don't know if I have a fifth one that like stands out for me. Like as
All right.
like 5. So
Well,
I'm
if you
gonna go
think
top
of-
4.
Okay.
top
Okay.
four.
There you
I'll
go.
allow it.
There you go. What's a book you've read recently that you would recommend or promote?
Recently. Actually, I have that right here.
He said, "Let me reach my bookshelf."
There we go. Man of culture
I
right
read
there.
this one recently. Slavery in the North.
Oh wow.
So this one is real. This one was recommended to me by a really good friend of mine. And it's basically just, I feel like in today's world, 2020 was kind of an eye opener because it showed us how disconnected we've become with our past and just history in general. And this book is just a great reminder of just history and slavery in the North. Because I feel like a lot of people's misconception is there wasn't a lot of slavery only happened in the South. When it comes to America, but it was in the North as well. So this book is it's for anyone who wants to read and just like be a little bit more up to date with history and history of our country. And then this is a great book.
Nice. Cool
Do you
deal.
read a lot?
It depends on what it is.
Fair enough.
I don't read a ton, but I think if I'm just trying to open my mind to just trying to understand things a little bit better without jumping on a bandwagon of hey, everyone's saying this,
Yeah.
or, hey, everyone's saying that. I like to actually go to some sort of literature to make my own decision on how I feel about certain topics.
Fair, yeah.
Nice.
That was good.
Cool.
Last question. What's your favorite tattoo?
Ooh.
Got him.
Doesn't even have to be ones on your body either.
No, it has to be one of
I'm
them.
just kidding.
I would say probably my Polynesian.
The new sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably my Polynesian sleeve on my forearm right
It's
here.
pretty sick. It's pretty...
Bro, that's so
How
dope.
long was that? Like,
That was.
it looks very detailed, so I'm assuming it was
Yeah.
a lot of hours.
It was.
Yeah, probably like 2 or 3.
Yeah. 12 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah.
So the greatest thing about this sleeve was most of the time you go to, or I wouldn't say most of the time, a lot of people go to the shop and they'll have just this picture, right? Or they'll go look up something online, or they'll look through their tattoo artist's book and start, picking out certain symbols. My guy, Wayne Fata in Las Vegas. Their shop
Boy
is
got himself a
Sacred
Vegas
Tattoo.
tat.
Yeah.
So he's like he's practiced everywhere. He's practiced all over the world in the art of Polynesian style. He's been in Samoa. He's been in New Zealand. He's been in Hawaii. He's really a master of his craft. So I went to him. I said, "Listen, like I just want to talk, and I want to tell you my story, and however that translates to the tattoo, like that's how it's gonna be." So I never went in there. I looked up his style, and I was like, "I love your style. Let's just have a conversation." And he was totally on board with it. We talked the entire time he was tattooing me.
Wow.
And that's how the tattoo came. That's how it came out.
Oh,
And
he freehanded it? No.
he freehand the pattern, and so basically like the lines how it would wrap around my arm, but all the symbols are freehanded.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So each symbol tells a certain story in your path of life, essentially. So
That's
like
cool.
this sleeve just tells pretty much my story from a child growing up and just revelations and things like that until my adulthood, basically. Goes
That's
all
what's
the way up here and down to the heart.
Nice.
Wow.
Real quick, you want to shout out your Instagram, your wherever people can find you?
Yeah,
want to look you up?
Keep up with you.
At the.flying.phoenix. That's
Nice.
me across all social media world.
Cool. Guys, this has been another episode of the Kinda Nice podcast. This is again, we did this video too, so we have Naj up here on Zoom. If you want to check out the video, we will
see
post
his pretty
clips.
model face.
Yeah, right. We will post clips on Instagram at Kinda Nice Show, and then the full episode will be posted on Patreon. If you want to check it out, it's patreon.com/Kinda Nice. This has been a great episode, man. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you doing it last minute. I hit him up yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, bro, you trying to hop on the podcast tomorrow?" And he was like, "Yes, sir." I can always count on Naj. He's one of the few ninjas I actually like.
Solid. Everyone else is like, wow.
That's my guy. All right, brother. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Absolutely, man.
Catch you guys later. Take it easy, guys. Peace. Hey, so this is a little bonus. If you're listening to this, that means you're from the Patreon. So shout out to you guys for being Patreon members. We appreciate you guys. We wanted to do the shout out and the Q&A for the VIPs of the month. It's so shout out Nanuka once again for the $100 donation, and then shout out to Kevin Hart. The questions from Nanuka are: Halloween is near. Do you wear any clothes? I don't dress up personally. I used to as a kid. I used to love trick or treating, but I kind of outgrew it a little bit. I think it's super fun, and if I get the opportunity to go like dress up again at some point in my life, I might, but I did not this year. And then she says, do you have any favorite Japanese food? If you have so, please let me know. I actually really like ramen. I've been trying to learn how to make it. It's been a hard journey because it's so complicated. Like making the broth takes 4 or 5 hours, but I really love a good bowl of ramen. And that's usually I think it's tonkatsu. That's my favorite. And then questions from Kevin A. Hart. We got question 1: what obstacles in Ninja Warrior would you like to see appear in season 14? That's a tough question, man. I like the Mega Warped Wall. I really like the Snapdragon thing. I don't know if it's like a cool little pipe slider with it was in season 12. It was like one of the final obstacles in the finals. That's a really good one. And then question 2, what is one crazy thing that stood out to you that you saw either with your own rules on A&W or another athlete? Wait, let me reread this. What is one crazy thing that stood out to you that you saw either with your own run on A&W or another athlete? Does not have to be from this path. I think the craziest thing is Jamie Ron, and I don't remember what season, but when he finished stage 1, when he lost his shoe on the second obstacle, he still completed. That was insane. So he lost his shoe on the propeller, and then he still finished the spider wall and a bunch of other obstacles. And I'm fairly certain he finished. That was probably one of the craziest things. And then he asked why the episode is so short for the other one. We just ran out of time. We were on a time constraint. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Najee episode. We'll be doing more episodes with people that aren't in Houston, so we'll be able to branch out and do a bunch of new episodes. Sorry that you can't see me either. I didn't want to. Najee was on a time constraint, so I didn't want to take up his time with us doing this. So I'm kind of doing it afterwards, but hopefully you guys enjoy this. We are going to be doing a Zoom call with the Patrons very soon, probably this week or next week. I just got the Zoom subscription, so we should be ready to go. I'll post something to see what days work for you guys, and we'll set that up. Thanks again for you guys' support, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
I'm kinda nice with the gear, shout out my area code. I'm feeling nice with the drill.